haven't heard about unmanned sports production, check out C Sports on their Facebook page, facebook.com/C Sports Philippines, and follow them on their Instagram at C Sports PH. C Sports' fully automated sports production system uses an AI-powered camera that enables amateur clubs, schools, federations, media platforms, and venues to generate live or on-demand matches, including automatic highlights in HD. If you are a league owner, a school, or a playing field owner that is looking for a way to live stream all your games, don't hesitate to contact C Sports.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 2020 Asia Volleyball Summit. My name is Magnus Lang. I'm the founder of SportsSync and I'm also an ex-NCAA Division I athlete.
And my name is Lara, and today we will be your hosts. All right, we are excited to have everyone here with us today as we journey through your student-athlete pathway. All right, but first, we want to thank the organizers of this event. We want to thank, of course, SportsSync. We want to thank HKEVA. And we want to thank Spike and Serve Volleyball Academy for making this event possible.
All right. Also, we need to thank our sponsors. Okay. So C Sports, as you guys can tell, we're using their platform today. It's an amazing platform, making us all look quite professional, but also to highlight, the key stories of today. They specialize in live streaming for sports and production, so they're a great platform to use. Also, I want to thank Wilson. They've definitely given us a lot of nice giveaways, but at the same time, they've always been part of the volleyball community. So thank you again for being part of us today.
So let's get right into it. All right. So the purpose of today actually is to bring together the most passionate and talented volleyball players from Hong Kong, Thailand, Japan, and the Philippines. All right, that's you guys watching us right now. And of course, we want to explore how you can use your volleyball skills to get you a scholarship for your future education.
And that's why today we have renowned university coaches from the Philippines, from Canada, and the US. They're here to share their story. They're here to tell you more about the pathway of how to become a student athlete. All right. So, first thing to do is I want to introduce to you two very talented volleyball players. I know them quite well. I'm a big fan of them. Their names are Rachel Tam and Savannah Chan. Okay, a little bit about them. Rachel actually received a 4-year scholarship to play Division I volleyball at Evansville University. After she graduated a year ago, she decided to transition to beach volleyball.
Oh, wow.
And now she got a scholarship to do her master's. Okay,
Wow.
So she definitely has a unique story. All right. Second talented volleyball player, Savannah. She went to Lee University playing Division II volleyball, also on scholarship. And then now she transferred to McMaster University, one of the top programs in Canada.
Yes.
Okay, so they have a story to tell. They're a great role model. So here they are.
Hi, I'm Rachel Tam. I'm from Hong Kong. I was an indoor volleyball player for University of Evansville while studying Bachelor of Exercise Science there. Now I transferred to Missouri State University to play beach volleyball there while I'm studying Master of Health Promotion and Wellness Management. There's a big difference playing at home compared to playing in the United States. At home, the roster is basically the same every year. You play with the same teammates every year. But in here, as people got recruited from all over the United States, and you got to play with different players every year as newcomers coming in. That's helped you push yourself to earn a spot on the starting lineup while making new friendships. Our schedule during the season is sometimes hectic. We wake up at 7 a.m., do our weights, and then we go to class straight from there while eating our breakfast on the way. And then after class, we have a quick lunch. And then we'll need to go ahead in the training room and get ready for practice. And we practice for 2 hours. After that, we need to go to study hall, get our study and class preparation. And then we're gonna go dinner, and then we call it a day. Being a student athlete actually trained my self-disciplines and time management skill. It also pushed myself to be successful not just on the court but also in the classroom. As a student athlete, I would say the most challenging part is to keep up with school while doing your best in your sports. It is really challenging because both requires a lot of mental and physical focus. Both needs a lot of efforts and discipline, and it's sometimes really challenging to keep yourself on track in both aspects. My favorite part of being a volleyball player so far is the traveling part. I'm a traveler. We always need to travel from place to play against different opponents, and that gives me a chance to experience the cultural difference and meet new people there. My favorite memories for playing for UE volleyball is definitely making it a conference tournament in my senior year. For the first time in 11 years, we make it back into the conference tournament, and it's a big achievement, and I'm glad that it happened in my senior year.
My name is Savannah. I'm a middle blocker, and I'm majoring in communication study. I went to Lee for 2 years, and this fall I'll be transferring to McMaster University in Canada. I decided to go overseas because I would like to challenge myself and play at a high level to improve my volleyball skills. I would say playing in a foreign country and be a student athlete is definitely more challenging than playing in Hong Kong because the environment here is more competitive. You compete with your teammate on the team to be on the starting lineup. So you gotta work really hard if you really want to be one of the players on the court in the game. So as a team, we're pushing each other all the time in practice to get better together, and the atmosphere is really encouraging and positive. I think one of the biggest challenges that we have to face as a student athlete is the time management part, because every student athlete have a really tight schedule when they're in season. We practice and we travel a lot, so to keep up with school at the same time can be really physically and mentally demanding. So yeah, it can be kind of stressful and it's challenging.
All right. Thank you, Rachel and Savannah, for sharing your journey with us. These two girls, they're so beautiful and powerful, and they're definitely on their way to success thanks to their journey as a student athlete. So, Magnus, hearing their journey and you being a student athlete yourself, does that bring back memories?
Certainly does. I think being a student athlete, first, it's a privilege. But I think what I miss and don't miss the most is actually, first off, waking up 5-6 a.m. for early morning training.
Oh my.
But again, you do this because this is the standard. You're playing with other very talented athletes. You're in an environment where you're meant to be pushed, meant to be challenged. But again, I think long-term wise, these are the benefits of how you are set up differently, because you can play sports at the highest level and get a quality education.
Yeah, for sure. Being a student athlete definitely gives you that grit to have a powerful kickstart in life. All right, but right now we want to move on to our live question and answer portion. We are going to interview live, right here, right now, coaches from the US, Canada, and the Philippines. Of course, they're here right now, right?
Absolutely.
So would you like to introduce them, Magnus?
Yeah. All right. So first I want to introduce to you Coach Andy Field from World City College, the Philippines.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Coach Andy, how are you? You're still on mute, Coach Andy. Yeah, I think, Coach, you got to unmute yourself for now. Okay. Coach Andy, just want to say, I want to say a lot of the population of people watching today are from the Philippines, so there must be a big volleyball, passion there.
Volleyball is really big here in the Philippines, no doubt.
All right, good. Second coach I want to introduce to you is Coach Manolo Concepcion.
Hey, Coach Manolo.
From Eastern Illinois University. How was that? How did I pronounce your name, Coach Manolo?
That was perfect. I almost thought that you were from Puerto Rico, just like me.
I had a lot of practice. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yes, thank you for joining in. And last coach I wanted to introduce is Coach Tim Lukes from my home country, McMaster University, Canada.
Yeah. Hi, Coach Tim.
Hello, everyone. And you got my name right too, Magnus. Thank you very much for getting my name right. Right? And
I
a
won't
quick
get
shout
wrong.
out boy, and a quick shout out to Savannah. There's definitely a linkage there, I see.
Yeah. Likewise for Rachel with Coach Manolo. Coach Manolo was a big influential part in developing her and transitioning her to, from indoor volleyball to beach volleyball. So shout out there too.
I think that I learned more from Rachel than many other people around, many other coaches, and so it's an honor to have coached someone like Rachel. So it was really a little bit emotional to see that video from her.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys still connect. So I mean, it's lifelong relationships here, right? That's what sports does.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I mean, the whole point today, again, is to bring together like-minded people that have experience in terms of building people up within the student-athlete community, especially in volleyball. You guys are head coaches from renowned universities with amazing backgrounds. So we also have hungry volleyball viewers today that wants to learn more about the student-athlete pathway. So today we're just going to have a casual conversation about questions that they've actually brought up, and we would like to touch upon them. How does that sound, gentlemen?
Perfect.
Ready and
Let's
wait.
go. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Go for it.
All right, so the first question I want to ask you guys, what do you guys look for in a player?
Okay.
Anyone in particular? Go.
Let's
Coach.
start with
Go,
coach. Let's start with Coach Andy.
Definitely, we look for a lot of things in a player. One particular thing I look at a player, regardless of the skill level, is the athleticism. Is he or she agile? Is he or she flexible? Does she have potentially the power for volleyball? Because volleyball is a powerful sport. It takes a lot of energy to play the game. You need fast twitch muscles for the sport. So I definitely look for athleticism first and foremost in any player that I get, because I've recruited players that had zero knowledge of volleyball, and I only saw the potential when I see that person's body type. Like I see if he or she is fast enough, how high does he or she jump. So these are the things that are very important to me, and these are the foundations to a very good volleyball player.
Do you guys have like physical assessments that you kind of have the potential recruits do, or is it more you see them at the game and you can see how high they jump or how fast they react? How does that work for you, Coach Andy?
With if I get a player that is top-notch talent, I would get that player any day of the week, regardless of the height. But definitely, volleyball is a height-centered sport, so I really need players who are, I'm hoping, close to 6 feet or more, especially in the men's game. Like if I put in a 5'3" or 5'4" guy, regardless of how high he jumps, there will be a limitation as to what he can do to perform inside the court. So definitely one of the things I look for is also the height, aside from the talent.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Coach Andy. What about Manolo? What do you have in mind?
Academics, number one. For me, I definitely look in a player to care about that part more than anything, just because it doesn't need to have perfect grades, but they need to care deeply about what happens in the classroom, because that's the first sign of great work ethic. And the second thing we look is character. What kind of value will that player bring to the culture of the actual team? And again, speaking of someone like Rachel Tam, I think that she brought that to the program that she went. She brought so much character, so much discipline, structure, that it just created that type of environment around her. So those are the intangibles that I definitely look for, and those are things that you don't find out until you start talking to the actual person, like we did with Rachel, and you were able to help us with. But at the same time, in terms of athletically, it depends on the needs of each year, that we have in a program. So I like to be in programs that are there are opportunities to build. There are opportunities to to go from less to more. So I definitely look for players that are that there to fail in order to succeed. Are definitely looking for players that are systematic or in favor of having a good organized program. And then third, because we definitely train and develop very similar to what they're going to face in the pro league and national team level, I look for great learners. I look for players that will be able to adapt and change quickly to whatever the structure of the program is at that specific moment of time. We use, an organized type of system where we like every player learning kind of like the same things. We're very stat oriented, so definitely someone that will be willing to compete for their spot, someone that is not afraid to lead, that type of change that we're looking for. And then lastly, of course, is the volleyball part. I think the future of volleyball is in speed and power. Can that player bring one of those two elements or both? And I think that everything else we can teach.
Yeah. I like the fact that you mentioned those three things because, we have to mentor many student athletes. We've definitely worked with, hundreds of them. And there's three characteristics that we always talk about. One is athletic ability, something you both have said as well, academic interest, and character. And these three fundamental elements are very important to be successful as a student athlete. And one thing that we'll always tell our student athletes, actually for us, is character is actually one of the most important things, because can you be coached? Do you want to be coached?
Right.
Do you want to work with team players? So definitely, what you just said right there, as a student athlete, definitely agree. Okay.
And I think that, it shows commitment and investment to the program. Once you get an athlete like that, you're getting gold. You're getting someone that you can build around. So definitely, if you ask me for a perfect athlete, I think that when you have those matters in hand, then it allows you to bring, a lot more talent around.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Tim, what kind of players do you look for? Or what do you look for in a player? Sorry.
I think what both Andy and Manola have mentioned, I don't think you're going to find extremism when we look across programs, regardless of where we are, even globally. Coaches often talk about finding athletes that fit the culture in the room, so to speak, the culture on the court. Culture is a description of people, and as we have people, we find that their like-mindedness attract them to the place that they generally end up. And so fit is very, very important. And you heard it in descriptions by both coaches previously. And ideally, we're trying to influence outcome, but we are also governed by the institutions upon which we have been hired. And so who we attract is influenced by the variables that we inherit. So academics are massively critical in an education-based model like we are experiencing with the coaches that are on this call. It's easy to then attract the people that may now influence the identity in any given year that you're in. So I often talk with student athletes about brand and what your brand looks like. So whether you're fast or whether you're 6'3" 6'3", 6'4", whatever those elements happen to be, are part of your brand, and everyone will find a destination that has to match and mix the academics with the athletics. But very, very important not to to kind of brush past the fact that the coaches that are on this call, I'm sure, are basically in it to win it, so to speak, without sacrificing all the things we inherit and we prepare our athletes to be successful with. Our performances are very important, and they have to be part of that equation as we proceed. So we don't lose track of that, but we don't sacrifice athletes for the sake of just simply the outcome. It's not a short-term investment, it's a long-term investment. Some athletes are much longer than others. Some have immediate impact and performance where necessary, and everyone has to contribute to the general outcome of the circumstance. So, blending the recipe together involves the culture in the room. It also involves the things we inherit in our academic institutions, etc. And it's a privilege to be on a call with gentlemen with the same like-mindedness when it comes to what their vision is in recruiting and attracting and placing athletes as we go.
Yeah, I think when you talk about culture, I think obviously you've been in the game for a long time, having been at McMaster and having seen the changes there. So I'm pretty sure the culture of how it started in the beginning is very different from what it is now, right, Coach Tim?
Well, some similarities for sure have crossed decades, but we're in the 21st century and we have to coach like we're in the 21st century, and we're all experiencing changes that are impacting our very decision making as we proceed right now. And so all of us, it's inherent in what we do to make sure that we try and stay on the top of our game. And there's one very, very important thing as we proceed, and that is I've always believed that failure is one of our strongest teachers, and that's what it inherently creates vulnerability, and with that you become you learn, you become better. All of us globally are confronted with this situation currently, and I'm not sure what we're going to look like when we come out the other side of this, but I'm pretty certain that our game is going to find its way to continue. We've gone from multicolored volleyballs and white volleyballs and this size and that size and all, block a serve, not block a serve, rule change here and there, but we still play because we love to play and we love to compete. It's still a fantastic game. The next one I hear is coming is the aquatic game. We're going to play with, ankle deep water seems to be taking on some interest and some passion now. So we'll see where that goes collegiately as we're moving along the path, so to speak.
Yeah.
We actually have a lot of time to talk later about the situation right now and the unprecedented times that we have right now.